Welcome to the Grateful American Radio Show, hosted by author and publisher David Bruce Smith. What did George Washington do that you might not know about? What did Abe Lincoln know that could change the way you think about the Civil War? You'll learn about all that and more on this special show designed to restore excitement in American history. Let's get started. John Gray has been the director of the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History since July 23, 2012. He oversees 234 employees, a budget of more than $34 million, and the renewal of the museum's 120,000 square foot West Exhibition Wing. I'm Hope Katz Gibbs, executive producer of the Grateful American series, and I am here with David Bruce Smith, the founder of the Grateful American Foundation at the Smithsonian. We are thrilled to be interviewing John. Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much for coming to the Smithsonian.
So before we launch into our Q&A, I want to tell our audience more about you. Prior to this job, John Gray spent much of his career in banking and government service until he became the director of the Autry Museum of Western Heritage in Los Angeles. There, he enlarged the museum's mission and scope, and in 2002, merged the museum with Colorado's Women of the West Museum. Then in 2004, with Los Angeles's oldest museum, the Southwest Museum of the American Indian. It's very impressive work. So let's get started on what you're doing here at the Smithsonian. First and foremost, what is the Smithsonian doing to help people, especially kids, get more interested in American history?
Well, American history is absolutely interesting. It's the most fascinating thing anybody could ever try to understand. So the question is, how do you position it so it is engaging and attractive to anyone, kids, adults, or whatever? And at the museum, we have decided that the great American ideas and ideals can be presented in a way that's engaging and brings people in. That's in contrast to telling history on a strictly chronological basis. So what we try to do is have larger ideas like American business. How did that develop? Present it through chronology, but the reality is people are drawn in because it interests them initially, and then they go through and understand more of American history.
Can you take us through a walking tour? So you walk through this beautiful entrance, and what do you see when you come into this museum, and what do you hope people learn by the time they leave?
Well, we house the greatest national collection of American history here, and so we can present this collection around all the great moments in American history. So when you walk in, assuming you come in from the mall, the first thing you can go see is the great Star-Spangled Banner. And that was America's symbol of resilience, but also at the very start of how we became a nation. And it represents the War of 1812, which a lot of people don't know about, but was very important in how we created an organization, a government, that brought all the states together to defend our shores and ultimately create the great nation. So you walk in, you see this extraordinary flag, 200 years old today, that is still symbolically and actually a wonderful symbol of America. From there, you can make a decision. Are you interested in American presidency? Are you interested in the price of freedom? Are you interested in how mobility created America across the country? Are you interested in First Ladies' dresses, which are enormously popular? And for instance, First Ladies' dresses, unbelievable fashion, culture, beauty. But what it really is how every 4 years we can change administrations, and we celebrate it through a huge set of inaugural parties. And it's gone on in terms of tradition for hundreds of years. It's probably the most reassuring symbol of our democracy.
Statistics show that there seems to be historical illiteracy in this country, which is probably a generational issue, a multi-generational issue. So, although I agree with everything you say, I'm curious, in order to determine what it is that kids especially, want to see in the Smithsonian, does the Smithsonian ever have focus groups with kids to find out what they think Not what adults think they think, but what kids really think.
We have taken a really aggressive approach trying to understand what people are interested in particularly students, and an aggressive approach to try to understand how they actually learn. And so it's clear from all these studies that we have to get them engaged really quickly and dynamically. And then once they're engaged, you can lead them into places where they discover for themselves what to do. Part of it is a trick of technology, having things animated and alive, but part of it is just taking the extraordinary objects and having a context around the objects which engage them. Trying not to do too much at one time is an important thing. We don't give a history lesson of American history here. You can get it if you do everything. But what we want to do is pull people in to an area in which they can become engaged, and then from there they go on.